You might have thought by now the banks would have slid back a little bit. They, rallied quite a bit last week.
Right.
And we've got Wachovia up.
Yeah, I think the central quandary that this market is saying is how can the banks go up again? And the answer is what we're seeing is the deposit bases of these banks are huge, and they are generating real revenue growth. Now, Wachovia took a lot of actions this morning that were very dire, right? They're talking about working through some really bad loans. They cut their dividend big, but the deposit base is showing that there's money to be made. We saw that with Citigroup, particularly saw it with JP Morgan. I think that you can say we saw it definitely with Bank of America. We saw it with USB, which is my favorite and is up today. I think people are going to begin to differentiate between the banks that have these gigantic deposit bases that are worth a great deal and to the ones that are just pure credit companies like American Express down badly. And I think that that's a fundament of what's going on. I also do not want to underestimate that there's hot money everywhere. And the hot money trade for weeks had been out of oil into tech every time the futures dropped. Now it's out of oil into banks because of the weakness in Apple and SanDisk and Texas Instruments and Qualcomm. I think that when I see these emotional trades, I want to take the other side of the trade. Banks did open weaker, courtesy of American Express and Wachovia. That was your chance. But I do not want to buy strength in banks. I only want to buy weakness. I do want to buy weakness in natural gas, and I do want to buy weakness in oil because of long-term themes. But I also am cognizant that this market is so violent that it's almost impossible for someone to come in and buy XTO at 50 after it was at 74, and it is the finest natural gas company in the country. Now, these natural gas companies are now being priced through where they were when natural gas was at 9 before. It is almost, like I said, for anyone who's watching Wall Street Confidential, it is almost inconceivable that they would put in a bid to buy natural gas because of the nature of the product that I run, Action Alerts, and it's not meant for tomorrow. I am buying what's down 5, 6. It's almost impossible for me to buy what's up. Just because of the nature of the product, people get to buy before I do. I almost per se, I go to buy Cabot today at 50 and I buy it at 51.5. But I have to buy free fall of what I think is right. But the market is saying, look, the banks have business. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will be bailed out by Treasury. You cannot leave this group. And I am saying that this group is a buy on weakness and will be from now on.
When you say that the deposits are strong at these banks, it makes me believe that retail investors, you and I, or people with savings accounts at these banks, that we have maybe become more confident and we're keeping our accounts there because for a while...
I think that's true.
So maybe there's been a huge marketing effort to get people to remember that there is the FDIC.
Right. I think the FDIC, I think there are going to be many bank runs. Okay. Many. But I think that the difference is that and one of the things that had happened that had caused the market to get killed was that people felt that JPM wasn't able to make anything of the bear trade. That turned out to be wrong. When we saw the JPM quarter, bear was okay. It didn't necessarily make money, didn't necessarily lose the money. But what that did was tell you that JPM is now able to buy other banks. It is very clear that there'll be other banks for sale. If you can break banks into good banks and bad banks, as I think Wachovia is, the good banks will be purchased by JP Morgan or USB or Wells Fargo. And I want to make this real important point. These quarters are not good. I don't want anyone to think the quarters are not good. But in 1990, the banks bottomed in bad quarters. I would like to see more banks close. I'd like to see more fear. I do believe we'll get a retest in banks, but you have to buy that retest, not sell it.
Got it. All right. Thanks very much, Jim Cramer, on banks. You're watching Wall Street Confidential. Stay tuned.